Hello, everyone. It's Friday. That means it's Chat with Mac. We're glad to have you for our audience that's there or here listening to us every Friday. We're glad that you're here. For those of you that are brand new to what we do, welcome, welcome, welcome. Nadeem, sir, you have been a very busy man.
Well, like every business, as we get closer towards the end of the year, we kind of start thinking about the future.
Yeah.
And like anybody else, we do all of our business planning, our annual 3 year, 5 year plans, and all that. And some of our advisors, they're very strict. They make me work hard. But I want them to make me work hard to kind of push me into some new areas. That's how we take risks. Is if we keep doing what we're doing, then we're not going to take the risk. And everything is fine, but then we also don't make the progress that we want to make. So yeah, I've been kind of busy. Working on our 3 year and 5 year. Specifically today, we were more focused on the 3 year plan, and it got me thinking. As I went through that, and I was like, the difference that our customers who involve a CIO in their business planning versus customers that don't involve CIO in their business planning, the difference in the operations is, it's just so much better when the CIO gets involved in the business planning process itself.
Yeah.
And it's not just a matter of you set your business plan and then you tell the CIO, okay, hey, this is what our plan is, this is what we're going to do. It is a much more organic process. When the CIO is involved in the business planning phase, they have all the juices flowing as to, okay, yeah, we want to add 20 more users in the next 3 years, but this is why and how we are going to do that. Those little nuances don't get translated either mathematically or just giving somebody a spreadsheet. That energy is missing. And
Yeah.
and I think it's very important for the CIO, and it could be in-house CIO or a virtual CIO, whatever it is. I think it's critical to get the CIO involved in the business planning phase, so that not only can the CIO organically understand where the company is going, why the company is going there, but maybe also give some input into what some of the other things are. And a prime example of this is what happened at Amazon. I mean, so Amazon was just, they were just an online sales company, right? It wasn't until the CIO started sitting in with the rest of the C-level management and in the business planning phase, and they figured out, hey, we have all this excess compute capacity. Why can't we just sell it like we sell everything else? That's how AWS started out there. I mean, if the CIOs were separate from business management, then that kind of synergy wouldn't have been there, and maybe in this day and age we wouldn't see an AWS. And really, it's true. AWS that started the entire cloud trend. If Amazon had not come up with that first idea, I don't know if we would have cloud computing like it is. Yeah, eventually people would have figured something out, but it would have taken years to get to that point. It was Amazon who had the idea, and that's what the visionary has, that idea, and it's that idea that is the business, right? I mean, yeah, there's a lot of more going on. There's a lot more moving parts, but without that idea, there is nothing. And that's what AWS was the idea that came from the CIO side of things, from the technology side of things, from the information officer side of things, into the main business management, thought process. And they figured out, okay, well, we do have excess capacity, because we have to have excess capacity because during holidays our compute capacity spikes. We need that excess compute power all throughout the next rest of the year. We're not using all this excess capacity, so why don't we just resell it? And a whole new industry was born. I mean, and I don't think a lot of people, I don't think they realize how big of an impact. I mean, we're talking about billions of dollars worth of new industry. That isn't something that just happens, even every decade. That's something very that's like next level stuff, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
so and that's what got me thinking that I was going through all these numbers and I started thinking, I was like, it'd be interesting to see how businesses do when they get their CIOs involved in the planning phases as opposed to after the fact and just dictating to the CIO, hey, this is what we want to do. This is, where we want to be. Get us there. That's a different thought process, and the companies who are very successful and streamlined are the ones who get their CIOs involved way ahead of the line. Now, I'm talking more about CIOs. I think you need to involve pretty much your entire C-level team because CIO is one cog of the machine. There's your COO who's going to be there no matter what. Your CEO is going to be there no matter what. I mean, there's a lot different. You have your CTOs. There's a lot of technology / information system management resources that can really bring some good ideas to the table at the planning phase. So before you actually decide on things, get them involved in the planning phase. I think that's a huge benefit to companies that are doing this right now. And I mean, we see it. These companies, like before they started involving the CIO in the planning phases, you can see the before and the after. I mean, these companies are just growing so much faster, doing so much better. I mean, and I'm not saying just raw revenue numbers. I mean, so yeah, raw revenue numbers can be huge, but that doesn't matter if your net profitability is very low. So it's or if you're operating at a loss. But the thing is, these companies are high revenue and high net profit. And so they're really in the top tier of your valuations. So there's a lot of that happening, and I just started kind of thinking about that and run some numbers. And of course, I can't really reveal customer data, but there is certainly a correlation with getting your CIO, CTOs involved in the planning phases because there's a lot of insight that they can bring to that table, kind of like how Amazon created a whole new industry just by changing a few things in your business planning phases.
So now, but you're, because if people don't know, you're VCIO for a few companies. That planning stage, is now the more optimum time for that to happen, or are we talking, maybe a few months back? When will you think is the more optimum time to say, okay, we need to be a little bit more forward thinking about what our plan is for growth the next fiscal year? I mean, especially for a lot of small businesses, I don't necessarily know if that's something that they're thinking about on the fly. They probably are, or, on the seat of their pants. But when will you say, hey, we need to bring in someone like Nadeem to help us with this?
So, so first, let me get this clear. I'm not a business planning expert or a, business analyst or coach. I'm none of those. But running this business and a couple of other businesses, the best time for business planning for your annual and 3-year plans is Q4. Right? It's always Q4. And I work with a few people, and one of the guys I work with is Doug Diamond. Some people might have heard of him, uh,
Yeah.
but he's he kind of lights a fire. I mean, he's very easygoing, very calm person, but he can light a fire under you to get things moving. And it's funny when I first started with Doug, I was like, hey Doug, this is so transformative. I can't believe I've run the business just by the seat of my pants and by
Yeah.
not doing any of this planning stuff. So he made things much more clearer for me, for quarterly, annually, 3 year. I mean, we go into like 5 year. We even have our, like, where do we see ourselves in 10, 15 years? Now, of course, we are always working on year one of a 3 year plan, right? We're always in the year one of a 3 year plan. That's we're always in the first year of a 3 year plan. That's just how it is. Um, but one of the things that I've seen is that the best time is to start planning in Q4 for the next year. So October, November, December. So and right now, this is October 15, and we are working on our 3 year. So actually today I was working on our 2024. We're gonna do the 2022 next, and then but the reason I start with the 3 year is, if once you have your 3 year plan kind of gelled out, it's much easier to do your 1 year plan, because then it's just, you just bring the numbers back down from the 3 year back into the next year. So you've already done a lot of that work that you have to do for 1 year. You don't have to redo that work. So it makes it actually easier to come up with your plan. But the thing is, like any business, I mean, I would always involve our technology side. I mean, at the end of the day, yeah, we're an IT company, but at the end of the day, we are like any other business. We have to involve our technology side. Let me put it this way. So, and I'm going to give you an example. What AWS became from Amazon, we already have something in the works that it might pan out, it might not. I don't know. I can't see the future, but I do have a vision. And
Nice.
and that vision
Nice.
is going to, basically, for us, it's going to create a new industry, not just for us, but for pretty much all around the world. That industry, people have a little, like a little uh, idea of what it should be, but none of the MSPs out there have actually figured it out yet. Some people have tried, but they have failed, and they've kind of stumbled, and things like that. So not a lot of companies have made it work very well, but I have an idea that I think will help us, and we can use some of the synergies of our process on the MSP side of things to do this. And what I'm talking about, this will really have a direct impact on business operations for our customers. So I'm not talking about just, installing a point of sale system. I'm talking about what takes a user to do in 10 minutes, taking it down to 1 minute somewhere. I mean, I'm talking about that big of a change. So
Yeah.
I still have a lot of work. It's just right now, it's just a thought. It's just, what I'm thinking. It has the potential to be. I still need to make it happen. So there's a lot of things that I need to do, a lot of smaller blocks that I have to put down at the bottom to build this, this cathedral, so to say. Uh, it's like that example of the guy just laying bricks, and then the guy who was just building a wall, and finally the guy who was building a cathedral that generations of people will enjoy after he's gone. And of course, the energy on that third guy was totally different than the first guy who was just laying bricks. He didn't even know the grand vision. So it's kind of like that. Have you heard that, Mac? About building?
No.
You haven't? Oh, okay. I thought for some reason I thought everybody would have heard about that.
No.
So this guy was laying bricks, and his hands are all calloused. They're kind of bleeding. There, I mean, he's beat up, and he's just throwing down that mortar and putting the bricks in place. And the guy says, "Hey man, what are you doing?" He says, "Oh man, I'm just laying bricks." And he's like, sweat pouring, and I'm just laying bricks. Doesn't look very good. So he's like, okay. He walks a little farther, and there's another guy. He's laying bricks. He looks a little better than the previous guy. They were both laying bricks, but he looks a little better. And he's like, "Hey man, what are you doing?" He said, "Hey man, I'm building a wall." And it's like, oh, okay. So and he could sense the energy. This guy was gonna build a wall with all these bricks. So he goes a little farther, and he gets to another guy, and he's farther than everybody else. He's got a bigger wall going, and this guy's hands are bleeding, they're calloused, but man, he's got a smile on his face, and he's just going at it. And he's like, "Hey man, what are you doing?" And he says, "Hey, I'm building a cathedral that people are going to enjoy for generations to come." And the energy with that guy was totally different than the other two guys. He had the vision,
Wow.
They were doing the same thing, right? But one was just a job. He was just laying bricks. Another one was building a wall. But the final one was building a cathedral that his kids and his kids' kids were going to enjoy for generations. I mean, he had that grand vision. And of course, that thought brought this energy to his work that was unparalleled. And we're getting off track.
Yeah, I like it. I mean, it's something that you use even on your regular job, as far as your energy is concerned. I like it.
And this is the quarter where we envision our cathedral.
Nice.
This is the quarter where we envision it, and we kind of design our cathedral. And then Q1, the next year, Q1, we're just going to start laying those bricks. But we know that there is a cathedral behind that. That's what and that's going to bring this special kind of energy to the whole thing. Nice. I'm sure most business people out there, most owners out there, they're already at the planning phases for their next year plans. It kind of triggered that thought in me. Does it, and my thought, the reason I had this thought was because I was going through this, and I was like, yeah, we have, a CIO role, and a lot of companies, a lot of larger customers of ours, they have their own CIOs, but do those CIOs actually understand and have the vision that the CEO has? And once they get that vision, things just transform, because it's that energy of that person laying the brick, but he knows that he's building a cathedral that is going to be there for generations.
Wow. Some good stuff. I like that. Some good stuff.
So anyway, so folks, I'm thinking we call it a day of that. I've been sitting here all day just going through stuff, and I got to fly out tomorrow.
I forgot about that. You'll be out.
Yeah. I'll be back Wednesday. But it's gonna be. So this is the first time I'm going to this event. I'm my a few members of my pod are going over there. And it's going to be a good time to connect. I know there's the pandemic and all that. My sister came from Dallas, and she got some N95 masks. She was like, "When you're on the plane, better wear those masks." And she's like, "Don't eat or drink anything in the plane." I'm like, okay. But I'll have some extra N95 masks with me just in case. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I think the quarter four, the last quarter is where you really set the stage for the next year. I'm not saying if you miss Q4, you don't plan anything in Q1 of the year. You should. I mean, if you miss Q4, you should plan. It's better than no plan at all. Have something, but optimally, you should start planning in Q4.
Yeah.
And always be working in year one of a 3-year plan.
That's good to know. That's some good information. Really good information.
So Mac, hope you have a great weekend. And by the way, do you have a vision of that cathedral? This is a
I do.
test.
I do. I mean, I got some aspirations, and with everything else that I work on, there's some things that on the weekends that I, work on, and there's this grand vision that can be a little bit, it can be a little bit bigger than yourself. But that's why I said I like what you said. The guy that was building the cathedral had this vision and had the energy attached to it. So that was it was right on time, that analogy, because I hadn't heard it before, but that's really good. That's really good.
But no, yeah, I mean that's what I do. I just sit here and think, what else am I gonna do?
Yeah, right.
So folks, have a great day, have a good weekend, and I will see you. I probably won't be doing any videos next week. Actually, I don't think I did a lot of videos this week. It's just been that kind of week.
You were absolutely busy. Yeah, you were really busy.
I mean, so my first day, I got kind of my first day I couldn't work, and I was, my dad had some issues, so I had to take him to the hospital, to the ER, and my whole day. And just that one day, it threw my whole week off. Now here we are on a Friday, and I don't know if I'm ever gonna get caught up. I mean,
yeah,
and on top of that, some of the other irons I had in the fire are ready to be molded. So
yeah.
I can't just not do it. I mean, it's got to be done. So otherwise, I've wasted that iron that I had in the furnace. So hopefully things will clear up here in a few days, and we'll have a better understanding of where we want to be the next 3 years. But we definitely want to have I can share this with people. I mean, it's about us. So in the next 3 years, I think we need to have at least one more sales office in another geographic region. That's what we should be working for, is another sales office in another geographic region. Now, when I say sales office, it's not like an app dev office that we have offshore for application development. That's not a sales office. That's a cost center, right? So another sales office, and I have a market in mind, but we'll talk more about that. But I'm thinking, we should be able to make it happen in the next 3 years. So
nice.
So with that, everybody, have a great day. And Mac, you be good. You be awesome. And
yes, sir. Be awesome.
Yep.
All right.
Have a good one.
Bye.
Bye-bye.